I'm neither physically nor emotionally prepared.
Well, that's worrying.
I know, I'm worried. I mean, this is going to be anarchy. There's so many things that could happen at this point after last week. And theoretically, we're going to finish today. We're definitely going to stop by 4
Okay.
because
Okay.
you have things.
There is a tennis final, and we've got a UK girl in the tennis final.
So, gotta watch the Open at 4 o'clock.
Sorry.
So, we're going to stop. So, there's a slim chance with the level of anarchy that we might have to, like, do a short, like, 3.5 session thing to try to wrap up.
Sure. I've got, I think, a 1 o'clock appointment on the 18th. Is that 18th next Saturday?
Yeah.
But I would be out of there probably 2-ish.
And
So-
we probably would not do a 3 hours of playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would hope not. Because I was coming to this thinking, oh, well, like maybe it would take like 3.5, 4 hours or something. I was just worried we would run long, but since we need to end on time,
Sorry.
it's okay.
I have totally not paid attention to the tennis whatsoever.
Well, yeah, we
I
normally
know.
watch it, but we haven't done this year. But then I found out that Raducanu had got into the semis, and I'm like, ooh. And then she got into the finals. Like, well, fuck that, we got to watch it. So
Ooh. Ooh.
because she bottled at Wimbledon, and we were really rooting for her. So it's nice to see that she seems to have got over whatever nerves she were having issues with. Anyway, that's
Good luck.
just us.
Good luck. I'm not watching the tennis. I'm planning on watching Come From Away on Apple Plus and The Cry for a couple hours. So it will be fun and cathartic.
Okay.
Maybe we'll be like recovering from like disastrous DMing today. I don't know. Where last we left,
It's just a game.
you
It's
had a
all fun.
lot on your plate. A ton of things going on, I guess. Bees. You're on the trail of these bees that are missing from the village of Rouge Fair. You kind of, sort of track them. First to an orc village, where unfortunately they kind of co-joined with a gelatinous cube and became this like swarm monstrosity of a gloopy variety. And you kind of lost the trail of that creature, and instead found a lead involving some Fey plant life. So you track those Fey plants and dared to go through a portal that was open in the forest to the Feywild. With a little bit of encouragement from a duplicitous voice that was coming from, at first you thought, a willow tree that housed the Feywild portal. But after trying to... Well, what happened then was Kai, being Kai, gambled with the tree, lost, and in payment for losing this dice roll, the tree asked you to go and fetch this plant from the river to the east, presenting it as planting this other plant near its roots might be healing and allow it to uproot and start to move around freely rather than being stuck at this portal all the time. You headed east, running into some obstacles, one being the weirdness of time and space in the Feywild and having your journey take longer in some places than you expected it to. You also had to navigate some rope weed that kept trying to cling to you and bar and restrain you from moving further. And you finally made it to this glade to the east by the river. You found the plant that the willow tree was asking about. And you were just about to pick it when a unicorn appeared. And was like, maybe you shouldn't do that. Because the plant was tied to the unicorn. But after some discussion, and I guess you got some advice from the unicorn about, stuff to do, you were granted permission to pull one of the plants anyhow, and you kind of have a mission to go to the chromatic gate in the Feywild that borders the Queen's Orchard, and kind of tell them what's going on. Tell them that the portal uh, to Toril is open early. Tell them that you think there's a Fey Queen Bee that's on the loose in your world. And I think you're supposed to tell them something else, maybe.
Shoot.
Something. Maybe it was important. Maybe it's world breaking. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Oh, hang on. Unicorn suggests speaking to Tansy Fleetfoot about closing the portal, that the willow tree is actually a satyr causing trouble. I put that in some notes. And then about the bee being in our side. The portal.
So the willow tree is not a willow tree talking to you. It's actually just somebody being duplicitous, convincing you that they're actually a tree. Going to the orchard for some help. And the reason why the unicorn granted you one of their plants, anyhow, was because an alchemist can make a concoction out of it that will help chill out the Fey Queen Bee. Or that can possibly chill out the Fey Queen Bee. So, because you still have some hopes. I think the way we left it, you still have some hopes of bringing the Fey Queen back to the Feywild.
I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best case scenario. Is you catch this Fey Queen Bee, bring her back to the Feywild portal, chuck her in, and then you get someone to close it from the other side, and everybody lives happily ever after. That's on like what the wish board, the dream board. You're trying to manifest across the multiplanes. Was there anything else? Have I left out anything else? This is me just procrastinating because I don't feel ready.
I was looking at my notes and it's like, wow, I did not take notes at the end there. I did take some notes, and I guess that something happened and I stopped.
I did not take enough.
There was a lot. I mean, wow.
I think the last thing I wrote down was Callias, the elf's name, and that was
that was like
that was way back
halfway through or something. Yeah, you ran into like an elf resident of the forest, and there was some dialogue and exchange because he's the one who gave you kind of like the general direction of where the Feywild portal was.
That's right,
and told you that it's open early.
So screw that guy. We're not going to talk to him again. We don't have time.
He was going to keep an eye out for your bees. I think
your bees. Okay. Well, maybe we'll.
But
assuming we make it back.
A little question mark by Callias' name.
Yeah.
Maybe you matter, maybe you don't. I don't know. So, one thing that the unicorn did do, because I think there's maybe some mention about like having the struggle to get to the glade and how it was took more effort than you guys were expecting. The unicorn cast freedom of movement on you, which is good for an hour. Which means you can traverse back and forth through the rope weed, skippity-doo, and don't have to have any worries about it restraining you. But after leaving the unicorn's glade, you've made your way north to the chromatic gate that surrounds the Queen of Summer's orchard. And you're at a door, and it's a big door. It's like the Wizard of Oz door, with like a little window that's slid shut for whoever's on the other side keeping watch to peer out at you before making a decision as to whether or not they're going to let you in or tell you to get lost. The lights of the wall are like a rainbow. It's shimmering light. And and the entire surface of the boundary seems to be made of this shimmering light, including the door. Though there is what looks like a stone archway that kind of delineates, and there's like a single kind of placard around the window that is like a pocket window that seems to be made out of some stone or marble substance rather than this prismatic light. The wall is easily 20 feet high, so you can't see over it, but it's not completely opaque. It's partially obscuring rainbowy light. So you can see the shadows of fruit trees in the distance lining as far as the eye can see. So you're at the door. What do you do?
We could knock.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Oh, and make Kai, you can make an arcana check.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
A 22 is certainly great enough. And it also occurs to me, with Yelena's background, that Yelena would know this too. The wall is made of magic. And it's this prismatic magic that, if you touch it, it can potentially damage you in a chaotic variety of ways. So it's very much a defensive wall. And these little marble stone areas are in place as kind of like a minor foothold so that you can knock on the door without, say, burning off a hand. So you at least alert to, like, say, if Terrell's the one knocking on the door, to, hey, don't touch the sparkly bits.
Don't touch the sparkly bits.
Okay, I won't touch the sparkly bits. I will just bang on the door.
Because it's essentially like, the wall in the shroud.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, actually.
But
Yeah, when you were describing it.
It's encircling the castle areas.
Which would definitely make me not want to touch it, knowing what it does in the shroud.
Necessarily, let's not try to climb over the wall.
Okay. All right.
For hijinks. So it's but the door, there are places where you can interact with it because living creatures do go in and out of this door upon occasion. So
okay, I approach the door.
You approach the door and knock. And after a few seconds, the little window slides open and you see a whiskered nose. And a voice says, "Identify yourself."
I am Terrell. I'm here to speak to Tansy Fleetfoot with my companions Kai and Yelena.
And what is this regarding?
What do you reckon? Do I tell him everything, or do I just say the unicorn centers?
Start out with the unicorn sent us and see if he asks for more information.
Okay. We were suggested the unicorn to the south told us that we needed to speak to Tansy. Did we get the unicorn's name? We didn't, did we?
I was just thinking that. I was like, did I ever give you the unicorn's name? Did we exchange names with the unicorn?
I think Terrell was he too in awe to actually think about asking
we've
for a
already
name.
established that people did not take notes.
The blonde. I remember this. He was blonde.
Had dreamy blonde hair.
He did have very blonde, yeah.
Yeah, very blonde.
Definitely imagine him flicking that around.
And that's actually what I pictured Drusel back in the village when I talked about his carefully coiffed locks. That's what I was imaging, that unicorn hair.
There's just a lot of good hair in this
thematic unicorn hair in this adventure. Roll a persuasion check.
Oh, heck.
Like, how eloquent are you in identifying that you were sent by the unicorn?
Well, supposedly, I have a +3 to my persuasion, but, not bad, dirty 20.
Oh, dirty 20, totally eloquent. You present it in such a way that this is absolutely an urgent matter of great importance, and you are all that and the shiz. So, the nose says, "Oh, just a moment," and slides the little window back shut. And you kind of wait there for a couple of minutes, twiddling your thumb. And then after a few minutes, the doorway with a stone kind of shimmers in place. and it fades, including the little window, and so that all that's left is the stone marble arch. And then it's open, and then you can see directly through this doorway into the orchard. The trees are bright and beautiful. The sky continues to be this kind of orangely, purpley expanse that is somewhere between. There's either like dawn or like dusk, one or the other. And all of the trees that you can tell seem to be heavily laden with fruit in the height of summer. And you see a figure in the doorway. It is that of an upright rabbit. Roughly 6 feet tall, ears standing at attention. The fur is kind of gray-brown. The creature is wearing a tight vest and has these kind of pajama-like pants that hit mid-calf. They're wearing boots. They have.
Does it have a pocket watch?
It does have a pocket watch. You can see the chain of a fob hanging from the vest, and there's a quarterstaff strapped to the creature's back. And it looks at you and says, "This is a bit out of schedule. I am Tansy Fleetfoot. What is your business?"
Multiple things. I guess we just say something about we think the queen bee has left. Well, okay. First of all, portal open. You might want to know about that.
Which leads to the queen bee possibly being loose. Yeah.
The rabbit creature. This is a race of creature in the Feywild known as a Harrowing, which Yelena would know. They're like bipedal rabbit people. And Yelena, you recognize there is this crest that you've seen before that identifies this Harrowing as serving the Queen's court. And at the mention of the portal being open, the Harrowing or Tansy's eyes get very wide. And she's like, "It's early."
That's what we were told as well.
Yep.
Well, this is absolutely unacceptable. Things must be on time. Who ordered?
Yep.
I am usually responsible for opening that portal when it is time for the carnival. How did this happen? I didn't open it. Who's responsible?
Well, we've spoken to a unicorn who told us that it could be a satyr named Lofkin.
Oh, that Lofkin. He's tedious. He's always trying to cause trouble. I'd heard that he was in the area. We almost were breached at one point, him trying to sneak into court in a disguise. I suppose he's making mischief. Now, you did say something about the bee, right?
Yeah, so we are wondering if okay, I guess we explained that bees on our side have disappeared, and we've been told by the unicorn that a Fey Queen Bee is loose on our side of the portal, and we're wondering if the portal being opened early is the reason why the Fey Queen Bee is over there. If that makes sense.
Tansy's eyes are even wider now. She does not like things being out of order, and her ears grow impossibly stiff, like standing straight up. She's like, "A queen bee missing." And you hear her let out the screech of a name. "Tadpole! Come here!" And you hear a little eek of dismay. And from a ways in the distance, you see the little teeny pair of wings flying forward, and it's a pixie, about 8 inches tall. She's looks very green in her clothing, and her wings are tipped with a little bit of they're like outlined in like lime-colored pigments. And you also see that on her head is a little like beekeeper's mask. And she has heavy gloves. and there seems to be like a bag hanging from her belt. And Tadpole's like, yes, chief. Yes, chief. And the Herringon, Tansy, is like, are you missing a Fey Queen Bee? And the fairy seems to kind of like hem and haw, like, yeah, my counts have been off for a couple weeks. But I've been looking for her. And the rabbit's very, very unhappy, stomps a foot, and says, does this mean your honey production is going to be down? And the fairy tadpole is a little bit nervous. Is like, yeah, we're a little bit low this season. And the rabbit's eyes narrow. This will not do. You say the Fey Queen Bee is in your world.
Are we just going on the... Did the unicorn tell us that? Am I remembering that correctly?
I think that the unicorn presented it as a possibility.
Right.
Say, if a Fey Queen Bee were to be unleashed upon your world, that it would certainly cause disruption, and that it would have pheromones potent enough
To take all our bees.
Yes, to attract a wide range of bees from the surrounding areas. So you guys were kind of like, well, that sounds like exactly like what's happening with us.
Okay, so I guess we tell them that because we don't know for definite the bees there, but because of how it would react with our bees, we think that it may be over there.
Yeah.
And
this is maybe we can work together to solve both issues here. We can get your bee back and get our bees back.
Exactly.
This is very tedious. I want to close the portal, but I can't if the bee is in your world.
And we have a good idea where the satyr is if we...
Where's the
Wanna
satyr
deal with
now? Where's Lufkin now?
near the portal opening, probably hiding in or around that willow tree there.
Oh, yes, because you intimated that he was the one who opened it, and that makes total sense with the mischief that he pulls. All right. I will accompany you back to this portal. And I will guard it to make sure maybe we can chase Lufkin away. He tends to like deception more than open confrontation. So perhaps with me accompanying you, he might sneak away. Did you actually see him, or was it just the unicorn?
We only saw the unicorn. Now we have to admit that we're kind of idiots.
Well, so you're like relayed the whole story of like
Yeah.
exactly how you came to be in the Feywild.
Yep.
Well, you're perhaps not so foolish, as Lufkin is known to have a silver tongue. He can be quite deceptive, and you would have to be very perceptive to notice his deceit.
After all, it's the Feywild. Why wouldn't there be a talking willow?
That's also
Yeah.
true. Yes, it is. We do have our share of talkative tree folk. I will accompany you back to the portal, and I will guard that it stays open no longer than necessary. You will go to your world, and you will find the Fey Queen Bee, bring it back to the portal.
Yes. If there's anything you can provide or advice you can give us on how to do that without hurting her, because obviously we don't want to hurt her, can we persuade her? Is she intelligent enough to be spoken to?
The Harrowing turns to the fairy and raises an eyebrow and is like, well, answer the human, the mortal, and the pixie or the fairy is kind of like, well, she might be hungry, because I don't know, I mean, they eat specific flowers here. That's what she likes to make, likes to make all of the honey out of, and all of her royal jelly would be made out of, Yeah, flowers from here. And if you don't have flowers from here, that's gonna be really bad. Because she's gonna be starving, right? And if she's starving, she's gonna be hangry.
Oh no, hangry Queen Bee.
Might be
Yeah, that
hard
don't
to
sound
talk
good.
to her then.
How big is she? Is she normal queen? Like out in the
She is
regular?
normal for a Fey Queen Bee. Yeah. I don't know
Okay,
about
but compared to
Terrell holds her hands up like about
uh
2 inches apart, and then says, "Tell me when to stop," and I just slowly start to increase the distance between them.
and you keep going, and you get the largest span that your arms can reach, and she's still like, keep going.
Okay.
so I step in to help out.
They could be like, I don't know, 2-3 meters from from their head to like the tips of their wings.
Well, the good news is this will stand out.
It's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
once you find her, you'll be pretty sure you found her.
Okay.
Right.
For tracking her, what I've been trying to use, and if she's gone to your world, that makes sense why I couldn't find her. And she pulls out this wand from her apron, belt, whatever, and it's got a little golden gem on the tip. And she hands it over to you. She said, "This is my honey hunter. It'll track Fey honey. It has a very specific signature. Cause like the Fey Queen Bee, her favorite thing to eat is lemon spain, and it makes the honey have this acid resistance, you know. So the honey hunter tracks the acid resistance.
Okay, that would be useful.
There's some plants that they don't like, I guess, but yeah.
Okay.
If you have some of the lemon spain, that you might be able to get her to like follow you, or just keep her from being so angry that she murders you right away.
Well, could we take some to give her to eat to just so if she's starving?
What are them plants that? What are them plants that I'm carrying in my inventory?
The ones from the orcs.
Yeah.
Do you show the plants that you have that you
Yeah.
picked and that you pull them all out?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, not that one. They don't like that one. Oh, they don't like that one. Oh, that one they really don't like. Oh boy." She points to the yellow-green one and says, "Hey, that's lemon spain."
The yellow green ones, yeah.
Yeah, I think you have
right.
3 of those.
Yeah, I think so.
Who's got it?
And then she points this
You had it.
other flower you have that is kind of orange red, and it has like these. The blooms are shaped like a downward facing teacup. And she's like, "Oh, well, they kind of like that. Pickable. It's called pickable, but you shouldn't pick that.
Why?
'Cause it grows back double. It's like the other thing we call it is a hydra weed. So you pick it, and then 2 plants grow back in its place. And if you pick too much of it, you get overgrown. It's kind of bad.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty though, as long as nobody picks it. Yeah. So somebody probably should have named it something other than pickable. I mean, I guess you can pick it. It's just not advised. Did you pick that?
I can't remember where we got it from. Did we? I think we did, didn't we?
Well, was it around the entrance? The flowers that were outside of the
it was near the
Yeah.
portal.
Yeah.
So there's stuff growing. There's flowers that have. Is that normal for flowers from the Feywild to be growing outside of the portal, or is that just because the portal's open?
Well, wind blows. That's one way that seeds can spread.
Yeah.
And from listening to this conversation, Lufkin's involved, and Lufkin might have been very naughty and put plants over there on purpose to lead the bee astray.
He's bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's naughty.
He needs a slap.
Oh, and once you get the bee, here's a bag. You can put the bee in a bag. And she pulls this
Bee bag.
she puts this little bag from her belt, and it's tiny. It's like 2 inches by 2 inches when she takes it from her from her belt, but she hands it over to you, Terrell, and as soon as it touches your hand, it's suddenly like this ginormous bag.
Yeah. Okay.
Big
Does anyone
enough
else
for a 10-foot bee.
does anyone else think that maybe putting an angry bee inside a bag might make the bee angrier?
Oh, it's reinforced. But, I mean, you could, like, calm her down. If you could give her, like, some food or something.
Well, if we took
Or
took the
smoke. Smoke can chill a bee out. Yeah, because
That's right.
they think their hive's on fire. Yeah.
Okay, what about that? The unicorn gave us that plant because he said an alchemist could make something that would
Yeah.
sedate the bee,
That's
didn't he?
right.
That would be the equivalent of calm emotions, the spell.
Right.
So it's like not being a spell, it's not an absolute, but it can potentially chill something out if they fail their save.
Okay.
So you're gonna need to go back
smoke.
to the village to have
We'd have to get the
Drusil
alchemist to do it. Yeah.
to
Right.
mix that up.
So what we can do, we go back to the village, give them an update, hand over the cool stuff we found, and get magic stuff made.
That sounds like what we should do.
Sounds like a plan. And Tadpole's like, yeah, absolutely. You know what you're doing. Absolutely. The Herringon does not look so convinced, but she wipes her hands and she's okay. Let's get going. We've dabbled enough. We don't want I don't want the portal open any longer than it must be.
It works for us. Shall we go?
Alrighty.
Yes.
So the Herringon, Tansy, she orders Tadpole the fairy to get back to her business. Also instructs her to make a fresh accounting of the amount of honey they have in store to make sure that they have enough for the off season. And she walks with you through the doorway, or I guess you guys were kind of like loitering. As soon as she walks through the doorway, the chromatic portion of the door and the little window reappears and solidifies. You all march back to the original grove, the location of the willow tree and the portal, and the signal switch that the blue burning light that signifies that the portal is open. And I will drag you onto that map.
Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming. Add Tansy to your party. So you've come back here. Tansy immediately approaches the fire, and she's going to be standing watch there. You guys make a perception check.
Hang on, I have to move the map. It's covering everything. Perception. Yeah, that wasn't worth waiting for.
Yelena with a 19.
Yes.
Unlike before, when you arrived and all you could see was the willow tree and the swirly, sparkly light of the portal, you feel like you can make out a brief little disruption in the branches of the tree. Almost like a vague form of a figure that seems to be camouflaged high in the branches.
So I'm gonna walk over nonchalantly to Tansy and try to discreetly point that out. And I said, I think our satyr's up there.
Tansy's not one for subterfuge, and she immediately calls out, Lufkin, we know you're there! Show yourself! And you hear a little chuckle and a little tweety tweet of the flute, and a figure jumps out of the tree and becomes very clearly visible, that of a satyr wearing multicolored clothing. He's got his little pipe in his hand, You see what looks like several sheaths, dagger-sized, hanging from his belt. His horns are long, curvy, and polished. And he smiles at you, but it's definitely one of those malevolent, vicious kind of smiles. And he says, "Oh, you caught me." I'll add him to the map. So, I guess this means Paladin here didn't get me my flower, huh?
I guess it does. Mean that.
Well, it was worth a shot. I mean, it would have been a lark. Getting one of those paladins of the unicorn to pull a unicorn's tail. That might have been trouble for you.
Yeah, well, just so you know, the unicorn knows about you. I don't think he's happy.
Oh, Lufkin's not afraid of any unicorn. They just gamble in their glades.
Gamble.
They certainly won't come where I roam.
Not that kind of gamble.
Oh, damn it.
Like gambling along.
Thing is, you lost a bet with me.
No, we didn't.
No,
Nope.
deception.
What does deception have to do with it? Yes. Kai, if I remember your name, you made the roll. Even before knowing terms.
But his loss was he would attempt to get you the plant, and he did, and he couldn't.
Very true.
He has fulfilled his requirements for the bet.
Is that what my wording was?
That is indeed what your wording was.
Yep.
Oh. Well, I must be getting rusty. Huh. I'll have to make a note of that for next time. I'll be much more precise with the terms I give. Tansy looks impatient because she wants you guys gone. She wants to close her portal. And so she just mutters, "Lufkin, get lost. We don't have time for you." And the satyr shrugs. He's like, "Fair enough. I've got business elsewhere. You three, if you come back to the Feywild, I'll be looking for you. Have fun catching a bee." And there's a poof of purple smoke, and Lufkin disappears again.
He was an ass.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Tansy simply says, "I'll wait here for you to return."
Thank
with the
you.
bee. We are on a schedule, so do not shilly-shally.
Okay, but just bear in mind that time is different on your side of the portal to ours, so we are going to hustle, but it might seem longer to you.
Her ears twitch. Time discrepancies is no reason to be late.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
Good journey, good luck. But I'll only wait so long.
Okay, but if we can't get the bee back over here, then we're going to have to kill her. So please wait as long as you can.
And you see the rabbit kind of just settles down by the blue fire. And they're settling in for a wait. She pulls out a book. She starts reading it. She doesn't look particularly thrilled about having to wait, but she's waiting all the same. And you guys are free to go back through the portal.
Okay.
Let's go.
So we're going to go straight back to the village to see the Drussel guy. Yeah.
That's right.
Now, as you step through the portal, Yelena is aware of certain things about traveling between the Feywild and other places. One we've already talked about is the risk of losing memory, but we've already established that elves who have Fey ancestry are not subject to any risks there. But a human would be. And as you step through Terrell, you feel your mind kind of swimming and fuzzy, and a wave of confusion comes over you. And just when you start to kind of thoughts in your head of the moments that you have just lived through and the discussions that were had, the conversations and the information starts to get all mixed up in your head and gets fuzzy, you feel a warmth coming from your saddlebag. And you reach in and your fingers familiarly come in contact with the golden acorn that you received from a dryad many years ago. And it's glowing. And the golden glow coming off of that acorn spreads to you and travels up your body, kind of outlining you in a faint golden sheen, almost shield-like. And your thoughts clear, and suddenly everything seems as precise and in place as it was before you stepped through the portal. So this acorn seems to be protecting you from that effect that can render you having memory loss, traveling to and from the Feywild.
If I touch Yelena and Kai, will it sort of like
Well, they're
touch them as
automatically
well?
immune because
Right, okay.
they're elven. They have some of that elf blood.
Ah, right, okay.
But the other aspect of traveling between these planes, we now have to see if how timey-wimey has your trip been. So for the sake of that, I was going to have one of you guys roll, but I just realized, do you have a table?
What?
I'm sharing the table. There's a table for Feywild Time Warp where you roll a d20 to see
Time warp.
where you see exactly how time has passed while you were gone.
Oh, God.
And since it's for the entire group, only one of you needs to roll. So how about everybody roll a d4, and whoever is the highest will roll on the Feywild Time Warp table. So that's Yelena.
That's me. Okay, so just a d20.
Do you have the actual table itself?
Yeah, it says days become 1 to 2, days
Okay.
becomes minutes. Okay.
If you click on that dice where it says roll,
Okay.
it'll roll for you.
Rolled right off the screen.
Oh, days become weeks.
Oh, could have been worse. It could have been a 20.
Yep.
Or an 18 or a 19.
Yeah.
So you've stepped through the portal. Of course, you're not immediately aware of how much time has passed just by stepping through. It's still the same forest. It's still the same area where...
So how many days were we... Is it including the days that we left the village, or just the days that we were in... The amount of time that we were in the...
It's the amount of time that you were in the Feywild. So all in all, you were not in the Feywild for an entire day.
Okay.
But
So,
still, the equivalent is, well, you'll find out just how long you've been absent. But it is
Okay.
going to be on the scale of weeks
okay.
in this side of the world.
So it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 day becomes 1 week.
No. Not per se exactly, sort of. Yeah, it's like in that vicinity. You step through the portal, you see surrounding these stones that are marked with Sylvan. There are still some plants. The majority of them seem untouched. You recognize the plant that the fairy referred to as pickable. And sure enough, where you picked a couple stalks of it, looks like flowers have grown back in their place. It's twice as lustrous as before.
Oopsie.
You see a lot of these plants are still growing here ignored, You see where there used to be the yellow-green plant that they refer to as lemon Spain. It's been ravaged. So anything that was left, it looks like something has come along and just chewed on it mercilessly.
I mean, like a giant bee.
Potentially, something ravenous was trying to glean whatever it could off of the remnants of those plants.
Okay.
So there isn't any more that we can pick for the lemon green.
There's
Yellow
nothing.
green.
There's
rather.
nothing left that you can pick here. Just there are flowers that you picked before that remain untouched. But the only ones that the fairy said the bees liked were this pickable plant that she said you shouldn't pick, and the lemon's bane that the bee really likes, but there's nothing left to pick.
Okay, but she's not ravaged the pickable. She's just ravaged the lemon spin.
Well, that feature of the pickable is once it gets picked, it grows back double.
All right. So yeah.
So
Well, I
you
guess
can see
the
signs
good
that there's
thing-
more pickable than you left.
So I guess the silver lining is she's not going to starve. The unfortunate thing is it's going to totally encroach and be like this invasive plant.
Mm.
So you've looked around the glen and made a note of these things. You start to make your way through the forest back towards the village?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we can do, isn't it? Really. Can't feed her without, so we need to calm her down. Who's got the wand? Is it worth checking that she's not close and he's going to attack us?
Yeah, who has the wand? Did I actually give you a wand? I didn't give you a wand, did I?
Yeah, I remember the one. Yeah, probably not literally, but the honey hunter.
Yeah. I could physically give you a honey hunter because I made a honey hunter item, but I mean, what are you going to do with it? Let's just pretend you have a honey hunter. Someone has a honey hunter, and someone is wielding the honey hunter. And if you hold it up, you detect if you just turn in a circle, holding out the honey hunter, you notice that as you turn, there is a faint buzzing sound, and the volume of the buzzing gets louder when it's pointed in a certain direction to the north.
Okay, so away from the direction we'd be going.
Yeah, like a little bit northwest of you is the direction that buzzes the loudest with the honey hunter.
Okay.
Is it in the direction of the town?
No.
Do we want to go to town first and see if we can get that potion?
It depends on whether we think we can use smoke to calm her down and just to get her in the bag, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that smokes?
Kai, I reckon if we sit to his robe, he'd smoke.
There's all sorts of plants out here.
Let me check my inventory.
Like a ciggy might not cut it.
Got a tinderbox and a torch.
Yeah, snap. I mean, we could make smoke. What smokes if you burn non-dry wood? Don't that smoke?
Yeah.
If it's green.
Damp, you mean damp wood?
Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green wood. Yeah.
Green wood.
Yeah.
So you have options.
All right. So it depends on whether we want to drill all the way back to town to get the potion to come back out to her, or if we just want to try and go to her.
Do we have any sense that time is not?
At this point, you don't have a sense of how much time has passed.
All right.
But we would theorize that time could have passed due to what happened to Terry.
You are aware of that, yes.
And Yelena has presumably got experience.
Yelena is certainly familiar that this is a possibility. You just haven't had any. You haven't encountered anything that would confirm how much time has passed.
Okay, all right.
So I'm just wondering if it would be a good idea to go back to town to get a sense of how much time has passed, for one thing, and check in with everybody and make sure we're not a couple years in the future and everything's dead.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah.
true. Okay.
In which case, let's just go home.
Hmm.
Oh well, where our work is done.
Yeah, I mean, let's do that because it didn't take long to get here, did it? So it's
I
not
don't
like
think so.
no.
Yeah. So I guess we'll head back to town.
You look up in the sky, kind of peering at it through the canopy of the trees. And from the position of the sunlight, it kind of seems to you that it's, well, not dusk yet. It's getting towards late afternoon. So
Yeah.
it takes you the rest of the lightest hours of the day to navigate your way through the forest back to the village of Rougefair.
Okay.
And as you enter the village, the scene looks not unfamiliar to what you encountered before upon your first arrival. There are people still busily working in their yards, working in their gardens. Still no sign of bees, but it looks largely the same.
Should we go to Drusel then and see if he can do a potion?
Well, I think we should because we don't know how long it's going to take for him to make it, do we?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, if it's going to be like an overnight job, we can drop it off with him, and I can go get a bath.
And you've
What
been
with the
told
owlbears?
about
I could talk to the owlbear.
you have more than
That's right.
one. You have more than just you have multiple plants.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's lay all that stuff out.
And charge him.
So you make your way through the village, go back to Arbiter Drusel's cottage, knock on the front door, and this time rather than kind of sing-songy, the Drusel's voice when you hear it is a bit abrupt, and it's like coming, and rather than swinging open gracefully, the front door of the cottage kind of jerks open this time. And rather than seeing like the carefully coiffed blonde hair and the flowered multicolored vest and the simple linen outfit that you saw before, Drusel Liadon seems to be he squeezed himself into an old set of forest green leathers. And it's bulging a bit at the seams. Like it looks like he's donned some old foresting gear. And his enjoyment of honey and sweets has sort of made that a challenging task. You can see signs that he's been working on his bows and arrows that were previously mounted on the walls. They've now been taken down, and he's been doing upkeep and care to make sure they're in good working order. There's signs of like he has a quiver in the background, and various adventuring gear has been set out. Like he's preparing to gear up and head out. His hair is no longer curly and coiffed like a unicorn's anymore, but has been pulled back into a tight braid down his back. Not dissimilar to Kai's style. And he sees you, and his eyes light up a bit, and he says, "There you are. I begun to suspect that you might not be returning. Tell me, have you had any success with the bees?"
We've had some leads. How much time has passed since you last saw us?
It's been a good 10 day.
All right, that's not horrible. So I guess we just give the whole story of this is what we saw with the orcs and the bee cube monster, and found the Fey portal, went there, talked to a unicorn, talked to Rabbit Lady.
While you've been talking and just telling the whole story, Drusel has been busying himself about preparing tea and pulling out the cups and saucers and the baked goods and the sweets and honey and everything, and has been putting that together. And as you talk, he just continues like to prepare the tea, hands it out, kind of like sotto voce, asks you what you want in your cup of tea, if you want a cup of tea. He's remembered that you like green, Yelena, and you all eventually have been settled down again in the settee. You're seated by the time you finish your whole story. And Drusel drains the last of his cup, and he kind of uh, puts a hand to his forehead like, wow, this is a lot.
You said that right.
So you have
So,
plants you want me to look at from the Feywild. Is that the correct conclusion from your story?
yes, and there's one plant in particular that will hopefully help us solve all our problems here.
Right. All right. I have a volume concerning plants of the Feywild. Let me pull that out, and we will compare its entries against the blooms you've brought back from the forest. So he gets up, and out of his bookshelf, he pulls a slender volume, and you pull the different blooms out of your pack. And you've already told him that the fairies had identified this one particular plant as Lemon's Bane, the yellow green. Does one of you have all the plants in your inventory, or are they spread amongst you?
I think I've got all of them.
You definitely had the ones that we
I
picked.
have the purple, some of the rope stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know who got the one from the unicorn though.
I've got that as well.
All right.
I
Okay.
think.
I have
Unicorn's tail.
3 stringy purple plants. So we're
So
assuming
the
we're
yellow
all
green flower, let me show it as identified now. You know it's Lemon's Bane. And you know which plant is pickable. And he settles down, and he says, it might take me a little while to consult this book. If you give me an hour.
Do we want to ask him what he's been doing while we've been gone away? Why is he in his leathers and stuff?
That's a good call.
Well, you've been gone today. We were nearing the end of the deadline. I believe I told you we needed to try to resolve this within a couple of weeks. If we were going to make a big difference in the fortunes of the village. I was worried that you'd run into troubles and would not be returning, so I was preparing to venture back into the forest myself to see if I could make any difference.
Do
You
we want to
have
mention?
returned to a desperate man. I really would rather not return to the forest if I can help it.
Oh yeah, we met a friend of yours.
A friend.
Callias.
Yeah, he says hi.
He looks a bit startled. You met Callias. And he said he knew me.
Yes.
He looks shook. I don't suppose he had anything kind to say. I'm actually surprised he remembers me.
Well, that's probably a good sign. Totally not saying anything else other than that.
You can tell he doesn't say anything else, but you can tell that this information has left him a little bit discombobulated. And he definitely recognized the name Callias.
Okay.
Okay, so we give him the plants, yeah, and leave him for an hour.
Mhm.
Okay.
Shall we go to the tavern?
Sure.
Might as well. Yep.
So you head to the tavern.
Yes.
Johanna's there with the owlbear cub. The owlbear cub is running circles around her. And she's like, "Oh, hi, welcome to Roost Fair."
Oh, good. We're not going to get charged for the days where we're gone, are we?
Mm-mm.
Excellent.
I'm Johanna. I am your innkeeper. Would you like some mead? A drink?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Do you know anything about owlbear training?
Fairly sure she said she was going to try and find the owlbear's parents.
Well, doesn't she have memory issues apparently? So she may have forgotten she was going to do that.
Yeah. I would like to talk to the owlbear. Oh, you've got speech with animals as well, haven't you?
I've got animal friendship.
Right. Okay.
So if it's unfriendly, let me know.
Okay.
The owlbear is very friendly.
All right. Then I guess I'll say to Joanna, let me see what I can do, and walk over to the owlbear and trigger off my speak with animals.
So you trigger. It takes a few minutes for you to like cast it, but once you do, you hear the owlbear is kind of hooting in a sing-songy small voice as it romps through the inn, over and around tables. You just hear it hoot. I love to run. I can run. It's just a little hyperactive child.
Oh, great. Okay. Then I hoot over to it. Hey, come here.
Hi, you want to run with me? I'm so fast. I'm so big. I can run.
I think you're too fast for me. I
I
think
can
you would
almost
beat me.
fly. I think if I like do my wings, because my wings feel really good right now. They didn't feel so good before. Oh, but you're the one who fixed it, right? You're the one
Yes,
who
I
fixed
am.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, my wing feels so much better.
Owlbear doesn't have memory issues.
Thank you.
Hmm.
I thought
Yeah,
once it was fixed, I could fly, but I haven't been able to fly yet.
Listen, before you do that, where are your parents?
Oh. Oh, well, I don't really like talking about that. I don't know where my dad is. Never met
Okay.
him. Never met him.
And your mum?
Well, there were orcs, and they hurt her.
God damn it. Right.
They hurt my wing,
Okay, did they...
and I got
Did
lost.
Did your mum run away? Just trying to establish if she's alive.
They were hurting her, and I was running away after I got hurt. She told me to go, and I got lost, and then I met Johanna.
Okay. All right. I'm going to pass this on to Kai and Yelena. Let them know.
Now the owlbear has now stopped running around and isn't happy anymore, and is now kind of just sitting
we
in
bumped there.
this lump of
Bombed him out.
sadness.
Yeah. I'm gonna sit next to him and just like stroke his head. Yeah. Sort of like be comforting. So I'm really sorry to make you think about that. Even though Joanna is a really nice lady and she's obviously trying to look after you, you should really be with your mum if we can find her. So if we say that we will try and look for your mum, could you do me a favour and try not to poop on the beds for Joanna?
I guess.
It just humans are strange, you know, and they don't like it. If you could just let us show you where to poop.
Okay, show me, because I mean, I don't poop on Johanna's bed.
Okay.
I always save it for the guests.
Yeah, I know that you're just trying to be friendly and fun, but I don't think they would like that.
Oh, so I can't poop on your bed?
No, if that's okay.
Okay, well, where am I supposed to go?
I look up at you, Joanna, and say, "Where do you want him to poop?"
Joanna's like, oh, anywhere is fine.
Oh my god!
I mean, they're just animals. They're gonna do what animals do.
No. You said you wanted to help training him. So
Oh, I just didn't want him to keep running over the tables on top of people. I mean,
okay.
I'm gonna say let's ignore that advice.
there's a privy out back.
Yeah, let's say that.
Though, are you
Alright.
gonna? Oh, you can teach the owlbear to use the privy.
Let's say we'll teach him to poop next to the privy.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a great plan. What's your name?
I'm
We
Tyrell,
met? Okay.
and this is Yelena, and this is Kai, and yes, we have met.
Oh well, welcome to Roosh Fair. Thanks for your
Right.
help.
So I guess we take the owlbear out back and just show him where to poop next to the privy.
So you take the owlbear out, show the area next to the privy. The owlbear acknowledges and says, like, okay, I'll try.
Okay, but also, and I realise this is difficult because you are so good at running and you love it so much, and obviously you really want to be able to fly, but it's a bit awkward for Joanna's customers if you run all over the tables. I know. Maybe run round the inn, because you've got a big open space outside the building then, and then if you do fly, you don't have to worry about banging your head on a ceiling.
I can run around the privy. And she just,
Yeah.
the owlbear just starts running a circle around the outhouse. Accidentally steps in some poop. Because she, like, did a little poo when she was trying to, like, practice. So you have a slightly poopy owlbear, baby owlbear now. Owlbear cub.
That's fine. Joanna won't mind that at all.
But the owlbear cub's doing its best.
Alright.
You let it run around a little bit longer, and finally the owlbear seems to have let loose of a little bit of its energy, and it's hungry and wants a snack now.
Okay. Then is it he or she?
I never designated, so let's say it's a she.
Okay, so
I think I called it Sprinkle because of the whole, like, I think that was because of the little indoor pooping problem.
I would say I'll walk her back to the inn and I'll make a point of wiping my feet before I go in to see if she does the same.
She totally looks up to you now, Tyrell, and is doing that. She copies you.
All right, so I bend down and pat her on the head, give her a little.
Owlbear follows you across the threshold. You hear her, you hear her hoot. I'm a big bird now. She's very proud of herself. And about this time, your speak with animals fades away, and the Gerhoots just become Gerhoots again.
I'll just give her a quick hug, and then I'll say to Joanna, she's a bit hungry.
Johanna nods and is like, "Oh, hi!
Waits for the welcome to Roosh there.
Welcome to Roosh Fair." How'd you know she was hungry? And you see Johanna pull out some kind of chopped meat. You're not quite sure. Like, it might be rabbit, like before. Might be like squirrel. Some kind of rodent, like chopped reddish meat. So it's definitely not chicken.
Okay.
And she starts tossing chunks of meat into the owlbear, toward the owlbear's mouth, and Sprinkle just snaps it out of the air happily.
Yeah.
And the owlbear's like practically sitting at the bar like a customer, and there's like a couple halflings to the left, and they're drinking mead. One of them's drinking like a golden colored mead, the other one's drinking a mead that is blue tinted.
Okay.
And they kind of give a little bit of a scant look at the owlbear next to them at the bar, but then shrug and get back to drinking.
Mm.
So you guys can have a drink if you want, or if you want to try to take a little, clean up a little.
I would like to
We should do that, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After your time out in the forest. There's also the smithy. Because I think you brought back breastplate or
Oh
something.
yeah, that's right. We got some.
Oh, some stuff to sell.
Yeah, that's right. Did we grab that, or did we leave it because it was too much?
No, I think I grabbed it because I said I could carry more. That's my chainmail. Hang on, breastplate.
Yeah,
I am carrying a breastplate.
you'd gotten that that fell out of the gelatinous cube.
Yeah.
So you might be able to hawk off the breastplate if you want to. Or you can just go back to the cottage and see if Drusil is done yet.
Okay.
What do you reckon?
Quick, there's time for a drink. There's time for a quick, like, little sink bath, water, linens, and some honey soap. And there's time to dip into the smithy general store and try to hawk off the breastplate that you looted from the orc camp.
Okay. Well, should we do that? Just like quick drink, clean up, and then up to the smithy, and then back to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And I think you grabbed a shield too.
Oh
All right.
yeah, you're right. I've got 2 shields, so one of them will not be mine.
You do a brief cleanup.
Are we all right to have a quick break to run to the little adventurers room?
Sure. Go ahead and do this now. I was planning to do that after you visit the smithy.
Sure. Privy break.
We can do the smithy after the privy break.
Let's
Yeah.
get be in character, and we'll go to the little adventures room now.
Okay, privy break. Back in 10 minutes.
All right.
All right.
How about now?
I'm here.
Hey.
Hey! Precautionary privy complete. Okay, so you guys have all cleaned up a little bit. Maybe had a glass of mead for refreshment. You're heading to the Nectar of the Goods and Sundry for hawking some of the stuff that you looted off of the orcs. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. The Nectar of the Goods and Sundry is it's a typical general store. When you step in, looks like the shelves are lined with supplies, in line with the needs of, say, farmers, artisans, trappers. There's some armor, but all of it's crafted from leather and hide, it appears. And there's a supply of bows and arrows. Most of the weapons seem to be simple but of quality construction. There are a few swords, few axes hanging on the walls. And you hear the steady clang of the smith proprietor working metal at their anvil. You see it's a tall, muscular woman in an apron. Her back's to you. She has really impressive guns, and she's pounding a hammer and has tongs, though you can't immediately see what she's working on.
I guess coughing quietly won't help then, because she'd not hear us.
Yeah, she's making a little bit of a cacophony with her hammering.
Yell. Hey.
So, like, a big clearing of your throat and yelling, "Hello!"
Something like that, yeah.
And you have to shout a couple times. But eventually you catch her and she pauses and she starts and turns around and realizes you're there. And she lets out, a pretty broad smile. She seems friendly. Sets down her hammer and tongs and brushes her hands off on her apron and says, "Hi, howdy. How can I help you?"
Shall I just drag out the breastplate and shield?
Yeah, sure.
I stick them on the counter in front of her and say, "We found these. We don't think the previous owner wants them anymore. We were just wondering if there were any, if we could sell them."
Well, she looks at the shield and she's like, well, the shield, yeah, that seems fairly usable. Breastplate, not so much use for that around here. Most of the people, we don't have a lot of people who like a heavy armor made out of metal in town, and there's not enough traffic through to necessarily Demanded. I'm not sure about the resale of that one.
Could we ask her if she could melt it down to use it for something else?
That's true. That might only be good for use of parts. I could probably get me another one of those, and I could probably make a plow out of it. Huh.
Yeah, just scrap it. Make a scrap sale or something.
Tell you what, I'll give you 60 gold for both of them.
Considering how we're just going to leave them, that sounds fine to me.
It's good with me.
Yeah.
Fair for parts. I mean, that's probably what I would pay for the scrap metal.
Sure.
Plus a shield, and it looks in some fairly decent condition. A little bit pocked, but I think it would hold up for some defense. So that's definitely worth buying, and I can resell that. So she makes a transaction. You notice that there's also like a whole shelf of bee, honey aligned products. There's some honey soap. There's these little teeny bottles, and they're labeled bath in a bottle that catches your eye, Terrell.
Yep.
But there's candles, beeswax candles. There's beeswax soap, honey bits and pieces.
I'm just going to point at the bathroom bottle and say, what's that?
Oh, it's a bath in a bottle. Yeah,
How,
you drink it and it cleans you up.
I would like how much are there?
Oh wait, now I have to go look up.
Each.
I know I have this item, but I didn't actually pull it out. It's 100 gold. Yeah, 100 gold. 2 for 150.
I'll take one. That's all I can afford.
She'll absolutely sell you. In fact, she's like, tell you what, I'll trade you one of these bath potions for the armor and the shield.
Well, that wouldn't really be fair to my colleagues because it's 60. She was going to give 60 gold for the shield and the breastplate. Unless you're saying you would give me the bath in a bottle for instead of 60 gold, and then if I give you two, both 20 gold, that still works out cheaper for me.
You could totally do that.
Sure.
As long as she's like, sure, as long as she doesn't have to give up any gold.
What do you reckon? You still get your 20 gold each, and I'll just take a bath in a bottle.
Yeah, it's fine. Me think.
Yep.
All right. If I knock 40 gold off mine, then you two add 20 to yours.
Let me drag this bath potion over to Terrell's inventory.
Well, thank you.
It's just up your alley in terms of product orientation.
Mm. Oh, it smells like Yelena.
Yeah, it smells like Yelena. You no longer have armor, the breastplate, or the extra shield.
No, take him out.
Okay. And the other members of your party are 20 gold richer, and you're 40 gold poorer.
Yeah, but it's better than being
But you're
80
clean.
gold.
You have not felt so clean since you've been on the road. It's amazing. Just a little sip. Just a little sip. You're good for 24 hours.
Oh, really? So it's not like one bottle is one potion?
It's good for about a week's worth of uses.
Very nice. Even better.
Yeah, high quality products here at Fair. So you make your trades, and now it's definitely been an hour. So you head back to the cottage, knock on the door, and this time you just hear, come in! And Drusel's there, looking over the books, and he brightens when he sees you. He's like, I've figured out quite a lot. I've learned quite a lot about these plant samples you've brought. So, you want some tea before we discuss it? cakes?
Sure.
All right. So,
Never turned down free food and drink. So
so he passes around some food and snacks. And you all settle down again. He brings his book with him, and there's a tray now that has all the different plants kind of laid out on it. And he has his book open. It's the title of it is Fey Botany for beginners. And you see like where there's notes that have been made, and he's already identified 3 of the plants that you brought where you already had an idea of what they were. Lemon's bane being the yellow-green plant that the queen bee is really into for eating. Drusel says, this plant definitely has acid-resistant properties. As the main preferred diet of a Fey Queen Bee, that means that bees associated with her, as well as her honey, may have these properties as well.
That explains what we saw with that cube.
I could use the plants to distill a potion of acid resistance, or if you were to crush it with a mortar and pestle, you could perhaps create a lotion when rubbed upon a fabric, some kind of coarse material, would give it acid resistant properties.
But we need to keep that one, don't we? In case we need to feed it to the queen. Yeah.
If you want to use it as bait, that's certainly an option. But if you manage to not use it all, perhaps you might want to convert it to, I could construct, say, a cloak of acid resistance.
Okay.
Or you mentioned, how much did you tell them about the orc camp and the whole gelatinous cube business?
Yeah.
we told everything.
Yeah.
Every detail of what you saw?
Yeah, oh, in fact, that reminds me, didn't I pick up the alchemist supplies from there?
You did.
So I should have passed them on to him when we came the first time.
He has the journal alchemy supplies.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, yeah,
which
by
he
the way.
appreciates. He appreciates. And which I will get to this later. It's part of the conversation that will be included. So he hypothesizes that the pit you said that the gelatinous cube was in, you said it was covered with a tarp?
Yeah.
And you said that tarp was treated with some substance. And that the shaman with those orcs had been grinding, you think he was grinding the lemon's bane with the mortal and pestle? I think they were making this paste to create acid-resistant substance, and perhaps that tarp was treated with it to repel and keep the gelatinous cube under control. So, you didn't pick up the tarp, did you?
No, because the orc flung it back, didn't he? And we didn't take it with us.
You left it by the pit.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that might have been useful. Could have maybe used a pin fastened around your neck. Maybe it could have been like a cloak of acid resistance. But don't worry.
Well,
I'm sure you'll be fine.
Possibly. It's probably still there. Who knows?
Exactly.
Swing by, you could pick it up. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's an option, but if you have one of these plants left over, I could potentially make such an item for you. Maybe nicer material than a tarp. Something, I don't know, green, a little bit more dashing and cut. So that's lemonsbane. But do keep in mind that if you have any spells that would normally do damage with acid, they likely will be less use against the bees if you have to go into combat.
Good to know.
The unicorn's tail that you said you got from a unicorn. That's quite amazing. You know, most people don't actually meet unicorns in their lifetimes. I think I found a recipe where I can construct a something that will be equivalent to a calm emotions spell. It's a recipe here for a calm balm bomb. It'll take me a while longer to construct it, but I think you'll be able to throw this once I'm done at a creature, And you'll have to be fairly close, within, say, 30 feet, because we're restricted by your ability to toss something rather than magical propulsion. But I think it'll give you a decent radius and a decent chance at affecting a calm emotion spell upon a creature. You might
If
need to
we,
give me overnight to work on any potions like that, though.
okay, I was going to say, if we chuck it at the bee and we miss, does it break, or can we pick it up and reuse it again?
Oh, it'll break upon impact.
Crap.
But how hard can it be to throw something at a giant bee?
Well, wait. Can we rig up something where it
I could perhaps attach it to an arrow.
Yeah. Because I got Hunter's Mark. Let me look at that.
Bee bomb bond arrow. Bee bomb bomb.
Oh, of course, that's extra 1d damage.
Yeah, you want like a blunted arrow, don't you?
But
Yeah, we'd
it
have
would
to-
have perhaps, I think it was a 20-foot radius of effect upon explosion. So you don't have to be spot on when it lands.
Oh, that's worth a shot then.
There's some leeway. Now, if there's a mass of creatures that you need to affect, you might want to be a little bit more precise. However,
Well, it's massive for a bee.
my impression of a Fey Queen Bee, they're large enough in dimensions that it's like hitting the side of a house. Now, from my reading, it also says that a unicorn's tail can be derived into various healing potions as well. It's known to grant, permanent health. So I don't know if you want to risk trying your own personal skills of persuasion to talk with the Fey Queen Bee and luring her back to the Feywild. I could potentially make this tincture that would give you, one of you, well, more hit points permanently.
Do you
Yeah.
want to do the calming potion with the?
I could only do
Unicorn
one or
tail.
the other, the calming bomb, or a tincture to increase hit points permanently. Sort of an either or. But if you don't have any confidence in your ability to persuade Fey Queen Bee, I certainly vote for making the bomb because I want you to be successful.
I feel like we should play it safe and have the can bomb as a backup if we can't persuade her to come with us.
It just felt
Sure.
conscience bound to mention it, seeing as how unicorn's tail is rather a rare item, and you may not run into its like again. This pickable plant, while a bee will feed upon it when starving, we probably should give it a wide berth. But on the bright side, I have figured out one of the other plants that you brought back is called pansy vine. Pansy vine, it's a mild poison, and it works as a poison that will destroy pickable without causing harm to any other plant life nearby.
Oh, that's handy.
Fairly effective. I could conjure probably with this plant here somewhere between 1 and 6 poison arrows. But yeah, it definitely works well as a pickable weed killer.
Okay.
The long, stringy purple plant. It's a rope weed, a giant variety. It's really, well, it's fibrous. Could give it to the smithy and they could fashion perhaps a silk rope out of it. I think you have enough for a 30 to 50 foot length of silk rope. But otherwise it has no practical purpose. The conical plant with the this green glowing bloom. I'm sorry. I'm discovering that as I push to talk and try to reveal the plants on Did I share this with you, the Fey Botany?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
As I try to unmask and talk at the same time, it alters the shape of mask reveal. So so it keeps going goofy. The screen glowing bloom, it's called Wizard's Hat. It's not desirable by a bee because it has a smoky fragrance. I found recipes for concocting explosives as well as insect repellent.
How potent an insect repellent?
I think insect repellent, it would probably work on smaller size swarms. Perhaps not the monstrous variety that you mentioned that had commingled with the gelatinous cube. Perhaps not the Fey Queen Bee. But any normal sized swarms, you might be able to keep them at bay for a period of time with the insect repellent of this variety. Say it would be very effective during sturge season.
And do we think that'd be useful in case she's got any like normal bees around?
And we would like you to bring back our bees. So if it would help you to herd them in a particular direction, insect repellent might come in handy.
Seems like an idea.
Otherwise, the explosion. I could make I could make one explosive arrow, I believe, out of this for combating the monstrous swarm. So those are the two options with this plant. The spiky plant is Astracineta. It seems to have healing properties. I could craft a potion of healing out of it, out of leaves. Or if you fear burns, perhaps a Kyotum's ointment.
Healing potion would be handy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So those are the plants that you've brought back. There was one plant that you encountered there were two plants you encountered that you did not bring back.
Which ones then?
Well, one of them was the dryad plant that was at the base of the oak tree that Terrell recognized from her childhood. That is associated with dryads living in a tree and grows at the base. If you ask him about the dryad plant, he'll say that those tend to have healing properties as well.
Okay.
The other plant you saw was just past the portal. There were these plants with very large, bulbous, pink flowers. Had this wispy pink smoke coming off of them. And if you describe that to Drusel, he flips through the book and he holds up a picture and he's like, "Was this it?" And you're like, yeah. He's like, "That plant is tipple bloom." Tipple bloom is something bees do like to eat. Tipple bloom, they're quite fond of it. In fact, it's intoxicating.
Missed a trick there then.
Yes, it would be very, very alluring to a bee. Fae as well. They like to get a bit tipsy off of it. I'm sure it would be quite potent on a mortal, the likes of us, or you especially, Terrell. Highly
Great.
intoxicating. That is tipple bloom. But that's not a plant you brought back from the Feywild, so. But just keep it in mind for future reference. So as he finishes the description of the Fey plants that you brought back, Drusel, he thanks you for bringing back alchemical supplies, and he gives you 50 gold for the alchemical supplies you brought back.
Okay.
Now, as for these other plants, while they're quite interesting and they're the kind of things he was looking for, he's potentially going to be making some things at your request out of these plants if you want a specific item. So he might make that item for you in trade.
Okay.
Over this discussion, What kind of things would you like for Drusel to craft overnight out of what was mentioned?
So we want the calm bomb. Do we want to do it so that you have it on an arrow, Yelena, rather than have it as just a throwy?
Well, it's up to you guys. What do you think is the best?
Well, I mean, it seems if we can do it on like a blunt bow,
arrow.
a blow arrow, so we don't have to worry about actually hurting the bee,
Right.
or at least not stabbing the bee. I mean, I guess worst comes to worst, we just grab the arrow and hit her with it ourselves.
Just
Like a
bludgeoning it
baseball
with my-
bat.
Yep.
And have to hope that you remember in your possible resultant column that you want to apprehend this bee.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that means just one of us does it then.
Because you guys will potentially be affected if you're in the radius of its detonation.
Well, it definitely wants to be on some sort of ranged thing then,
So
doesn't it?
Okay,
Yeah.
be
Sounds
warned
like
before.
arrow
Be
is a
warned
good
if
idea.
you don't want to risk chilling out.
Might need to chill out. Can you make some extra after all this is over?
Extra
so
for
we
a
can all
really
chill?
groovy party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so let's do it on an arrow.
And do we want him? So we said a healing potion from.
The AstraZeneca.
Yeah.
You want him to make healing potions.
Um.
One of you roll a d6.
Someone would do it, okay? Because I roll crap.
Okay. So he'll manage to make 4 potions of healing, working overnight.
And then we said we'll keep the lemon's bane and use that to try and feed or lure the.
So you're going to use it to try to use it as bait or like a carrot
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
rather than make any kind of acid resistant concoctions out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's left? Pansy
What's
vine
the
is the
pansy
poisonous thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to have some poison arrows.
Yeah.
All right.
Roll a d4. All right, it's his
One.
first time working with a plant, and he isn't quite successful. But you can increase the number of poison arrows you have by 1. You did get some out of the orc camp, right?
Got something. Let me look. I got arrows.
I think you should have.
I
Some
have
poison
10
arrows.
arrows that I didn't say. Oh no, you're right. 3 poison arrows. So
So just bump it up by 1.
okay.
And then the last thing was this rope weed. Do you want him to make rope for you?
I've got rope. Do we need more?
I don't know that we need.
The advantage of
Alright.
silk rope is it weighs a lot less than regular twiney rope, hemp rope.
Mm.
Well, let's just have him hold on to that and.
Yeah, I don't think it's urgent for what we need for the queen bee situation.
Anything with the wizard's hat, the explosive doohickey or insect repellent.
Ooh, insect repellent
Yeah.
with the herding of the bees. Might be useful.
No, I agree. Much as I like to blow things up.
So you want an insect repellent?
Yeah.
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 And a description is insect beasts within 5 feet of this repellent must make a DC 10 wisdom saving throw. If failure, the insect must move 10 feet away in any direction.
Right.
Is basically what that does.
Okay, so we can't guarantee what direction they'll move
And
in.
because it only affects beasts, that's why Drusel doesn't have any confidence that it will work on the monstrosity swarm or the Fey Queen Bee, because those are not technically beasts.
Okay, but we don't know if she's got normal bees as well, do we?
Yeah, the village bees would be normal.
Yeah.
If you extract them or encounter any little groupings of them, those would be subject to this insect repellent. So do you want him to make some of that?
I can't think of any reason to have the other.
No explosions.
I mean, it'd be fun, you know.
Blowing up stuff, always fun.
Stick it on Lofkin.
But we have a wizard.
We do have a wizard, yeah.
Yeah, Kai's like a walking explosion. So.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you go for the insect repellent, are you going for the insect repellent?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Roll a d4.
Should we get... go on. I'm not doing it again.
You're not doing it?
No, I'm going to get Kai to do it. If
Kai,
it's...
roll a d4. Oh, so 2 doses of insect repellent to Kai. All right. That means the only thing left that you brought back is pickable, and I don't think there's really any use for pickable except for also attracting the honeybees, but like
It's just not as nice as the lemon's been.
it's not as nice. It's not as tempting as the lemon's bane. It's like a desperate bee will be attracted to it.
It's like putting Brussels sprouts out.
No, I
It's edible, but
I
no.
could be starving and I'd never eat them. What should we just take it as a backup then?
I guess.
You
if
could, or he'll give you like 10 gold for the sample. As if you just want to leave that behind, I'll round up the gold that that Drusil gives you for all of the alchemical examples, up to 60, so 20 gold each.
Shall we do that then? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Now I think I've given you all of the items now at this point, except for a balm arrow. And this is me just changing the name from Calm Balm Bomb to Calm Balm Bomb Arrow. I just want to say Calm Balm Bomb multiple times and fail. That was the whole point.
Is that on the party sheet?
I'm going to put it in your inventory, Yelena.
Thank you.
Since you're the obvious destination. You should have it now.
That is an interesting combination of alliteration and rhyming.
I know, I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
I was like, as soon as I thought of that, I was like, okay, this is an item. That's the item. All right, so you all have your stuff. Drusil works through the night to craft all this stuff for you. It is the next morning. You sleep at the inn. Johanna forgets to charge you because she thinks you're all new guests. The owlbear chooses to sleep in Terrell's room tonight, uses the bathroom appropriately, and stays in the blanket hut, in the blanket fort.
Aww.
Does not sleep on the bed. So all in all, this owlbear is practically domesticated at this point.
Not necessarily a good thing unless his mummy's actually dead, but okay.
So it's morning. Johanna is just serving some kind of interesting brown porridge for breakfast. It's mystery porridge, basically. And there's breakfast mead, which is basically watered down mead. And those are all your food options. Drusil's been working through the night, and he's too busy to think about sending you over any scones this time around.
Okay. Whisk the porridge then.
It's kind of disgusting, but filling.
Oh, great.
It's just like paste on your tongue.
Is there any honey that we can?
Yeah, exactly.
There is honey. You could put like tons of honey all over it.
half and half.
Yeah, half and half. So you all have a sugar high now.
Woo.
But it's masked the texture and taste of the pasty porridge. And you can drink it down with like large quantities of the watered mead for breakfast. You can get the full strength stuff as well if you want.
Well, best not if we're having to go for
Yeah.
walk later.
Yeah, there's gonna be some fighting and some shooting, so you don't want to get too wasted. Too tippled this early in the morning. Got bees to corral. And you make your way to the cottage, and the unshaven Drusel is there, and he just like hands off blearily all these items that he's constructed for you. And you see him like immediately kind of collapse on the settee, and he's going to be out for the day. He's like, good luck.
Thank you.
And so it's maybe 8 in the morning and you're ready to head back to the forest.
Let's go.
Super, yeah.
Now, you've got your honey hunter. So, using the honey hunter in terms of trying to track the direction of where the bees might be hanging out now, especially the Fey Queen Bee, makes your travel through the forest a lot easier. You're still a little bit precautious because you're aware that sometimes the Malorite orcs that roamed in these parts left trips and snares for hunting in throughout the forest. So you keep an eye out just for any kind of common dangers. Keep an eye out for and an ear out for the movement of animals through the forest. But you've gotten pretty, you've gotten a little bit familiar with this area of the forest now. So you make your way fairly quickly, much quicker than before. And you have the honey hunter as the compass to guide you. After
Are we holding the honey hunter out like a little dousing?
Yes, you
rod?
are.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You like kind of wave it back and forth and it goes like bzzz, and you use that to kind of, keep changing slight micro corrections so that you got the loudest buzz possible as you're traveling through the forest. But you can tell that you're going a general kind of northeasternly direction from where you started, straight out from the village. So you can tell that it's somewhere between where the portals of the Feywild was and where the orc encampment was, but farther to the north. Is the general run of things of where it was. Definitely to the northeast of where you ran into Callias the elf, or ran into the giant boar running through the woods. But it takes a couple hours before the buzz from the honey hunter gets quite strong. And it's buzzing so loudly that it pretty much ruins any chance of being stealthy moving through the forest.
Okay.
But you almost don't hear it. Actually, roll a perception check.
All of us?
Yes. Does someone have disadvantage? Oh, no, someone just had red dice. That threw me for a second because I was like, because the red die is usually for somebody rolling at disadvantage. And I thought somebody was rolling with disadvantage. And you might as well have been rolling with disadvantage with these crappy numbers that you have.
Exactly.
So the honey hunter is buzzing so loudly that you don't even notice until all of a sudden these two brown bears burst through the woods and they're running straight toward you. Roll another perception check. Now that the bears are in your face. Okay,
Whoa!
night and day. You didn't hear the bears coming, but now that they're right in your face,
Now we know the bears.
These bears are agitated, but they are scared. These are running scared bears, and you can tell that there are these large welts on the side of the bears where it looks like they've been burnt and stung, and the bears are just traveling through. They want to get away. So
let them pass?
Do dex saves just to make sure that you can get out of the way of the bears as they come barreling past. Kai has no problem. And Yelena just manages to make it. But Terrell, you get clipped by the bears and you take 1d8 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
A little bit trampled. Let me roll a d8. So you take 4 damage from a bear trampling you as it runs past.
Okay.
If you head the direction that the bears came from, which the buzzing is pointed that way, you come upon an area of the forest that has a cave.
Where?
I'm not going to
Would
put
that
you
be
on
the-
this map, but just for visualization, you step out of through some trees, some heavily clumped trees, into a little bit of a clearing, and there is a rock outcropping, and you can see an entrance to a set of caves. Kai, roll an insight check.
Just give me one moment. Sorry, I was adjusting things.
Which means on screen.
Kai, you think you recognize this cave. You think this is the cave that you came out of when you got lost in the Underdark and you made your way and first stepped in the forest. The shape of the opening looks really familiar. The arrangement of the trees. You think this might be the entrance to a cave that led to the Underdark. And the honey hunter is just buzzing straight for the opening of the cave.
Very odd. So, I'd tell the rest of the party that I think this is the cave that I came out of.
Well, I guess you now know where to come if you want to go back home.
Right.
Well, I'm just wondering if the bees are all being lured into the Underdark. Maybe.
So first we go to the Feywild, now we go to the Underdark.
This is definitely going to take
Everybody-
longer than 3 sessions if that's the case.
A 3-day campaign.
Everybody can do a survival check.
I don't think bees liked caves. Ooh.
Terrell, I mean, Kai has no clue. Kai has not seen a bee in a cave before, so he just... And, I mean, he can barely find his way in caves, so he doesn't know what to make of this. But Yelena and Terrell, you're both aware that bee nests can be found almost anywhere. And while, in the case of husbandry, when people are, apiarists are, manning their bees, they build specific places for the bees to find roost. But you know that different types of bees might make a hive in a random piece of wood. Sometimes they go so far as to do it in the ground. So if a bee could find another place for shelter, or a place that wasn't necessarily large enough, that it wouldn't be crazy for a bee to use a cave as a hive. If it was a big enough cave.
Okay.
So are we anybody holding up the honey hunter?
Honey hunter pointed towards the cave entrance, buzzing very loudly.
Uh-huh.
So we need to go in and investigate, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, where are your lemonsbane and plants at this point?
With Kai.
In my inventory, are they?
Yeah, so do we want to get them out?
Put it at the mouth of the cave? Or...
Well, that's an option, isn't it? If we put them at the mouth of the cave and see if
we-
it attracts it out.
Yeah, that would be the easiest rather than us having to go in there.
And did you say you could make animals more friendly?
I do have animal friendship. Does that work on Faye?
No. It works
Yeah.
on beasts, I believe. Does the description actually say beasts?
Ooh, let me look. A beast, yeah.
So it would work on a normal swarm of bees. But
Same goes for
not-
the speak with animals then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there goes that plan.
But you're going to use the lemon spane? You're going to try
Yeah.
sticking it in the entrance of the cave
Yeah.
to lure
Let's try
something?
that. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And knowing our luck, we'd be luring like a 10
All of
foot.
them.
Yeah, I
Pumpkin
maybe out,
foot.
not too close to the entrance, just so we got a moment to.
Mm.
You put it right outside the entrance, and nothing happens.
We just sit there looking at it.
You sit there for like 15 minutes or so, and nothing happens.
Ah,
But if you go into the entrance of the cave a little bit and you lay out the 3 plants you have, actually, if you go into the cave the entrance and say you put away the honey hunter and the buzzing quiets for a little while, and you sneak into the cave,
uh-huh.
I will show you what you see. I'm not going to make you run a stealth check because I know that's going to go badly. I've learned my lesson. I'm sharing a map.
Not yet.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay. So at first, from the forest, there's this narrow cave. I have this flipped upside down, so you're actually traveling north as you go through this cave. And you tiptoe for a few seconds, and then the passage opens. And as you peer through the passage, you see there's this large open cavern that seems coated with honey and waxy structures. There are little outcroppings of rock that poke through where the stalactites or stalagmites have avoided or escaped being coated by the honeycomb and sticky surfaces. But it looks like this entire cave has been transformed into one giant hive. You see signs also that some rocks have fallen, that perhaps the weight of the honeycomb being attached to the areas or the honey seeping in has dislodged some of the maybe weaker fissures in the rock. So there seems to have been a couple cave-ins in different locations in this cave. But by and large, it looks to be like a whole honey zone. And you see there are various random little spots out of the holes in the honeycomb. A little swarm of bees, like more of the normal size of swarm of bees that you are accustomed to, will poof out of one of the holes and then dive back into another hole in the hive. And then kind of glowering in one area is a patch that looks to be somewhat burnt, melted. It's getting greenish in tone. And in the middle of this kind of 15-foot radius area is the swarm monstrosity. And I will drag that to the map. And in the center of this cavern, in a high hive that's kind of obstructing your view, it's about 20 feet by 20 feet, and it is like a kind of a cone or a conical shape that reaches to the ceiling. There seems to be a giant beehive in the center of the cavern. Something large enough that a queen Fey bee could loiter within.
I feel like giant bees is a bad idea.
I feel like any bees is a bad idea.
Well, I can do the animal friendship with a. Does it work on just one? Does it work on a swarm?
A normal swarm.
Yeah.
You might have to get close I'm adding the swarm monstrosity.
And Swarm Monstrosity is the one that absorbed the cube.
The one that absolved the cube. So you
Right.
see it kind of like humming in this large area to the side. It looks discolored, and it's away from the rest of the bee stuff. It's kind of making this kind of grotesque little indentation within the cave itself. And you see the most of the crumbling rock is in the area surrounding where this monstrosity is. You think that you probably didn't have the plant quite close enough to lure. Basically, seeing where all these bee creatures are at this point, you think that you didn't have the plants quite close enough. And if you got at least one closer to where the honey started and then worked your way back outside the cave, you might be able to lure some bees out of the cave.
But it would be random bees, not necessarily the queen bee.
You don't have sight on the queen bee right now, so you're thinking it's going to be either a normal swarm of bees or it's going to be the monstrosity.
Right. Well, I think the monstrosity we're probably going to have to fight, because I don't think that's someone that should be allowed to stay.
Right.
The normal bees, do we think with your friendship and my speaking, we might be able to persuade them to go
home?
Yeah.
Or stuff something in a bag.
Or that, yeah.
A normal sized bag. Not your big bag of bee.
Not my big bag, nah.
Your big bee bag, but, a normal bag.
I mean, I do smell like lavender. Maybe they'll think I'm a big flower.
That's true.
It's true.
Hmm.
Well, should we do that then? Should we do I mean, if we got 3 lemon spin, do a little cookie trail back with it. See if we can lure some out.
I haven't put you on this map yet, just in case you did draw them outside of the cave. But you're definitely within range, I think, for attacking something specific within this area and then running.
So we could attack the monstrosity and run for it.
Kill it with fire.
That's an option. Yeah.
I think that might be the best option.
That might be a good idea, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go on then. Let's do that. Are we going to get their attention? Chuck some at them?
I don't see the need to get an attention. I think we just hit it with firebolts. Or what other fiery things that we've got, or set an arrow on fire.
Are you just nudging Kai? You're like, Kai?
Hey,
Kai!
Firebolt. Go on.
Wizard.
Get the swarm. Get the swarm.
Flame boy.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Well, I'll try. Would you prefer Scorching Ray or Firebolt?
Whatever would be
better controlled into direction, I think.
Yeah.
Scorching Ray, maybe. Yeah, I could try that. Well, I'm not on the map yet. Do I need to be on the map?
I don't think you have to be on the map. I think you can still drag to the actual thing on the map.
Okay, so I do cast, yeah?
Yeah. Or you hit it.
Yay! And then damage?
So go ahead and roll your damage onto the bee swarm.
Oh, fucking
So
hell. A load of shit.
But you do hit the swarm monstrosity with your scorching ray, and as the fire zips into this frenzied, ginormous cloud of buzzing, gloopy green insects, you see it kind of pulse around the fire, and you hear this sizzle popping sound. And the swarm seems to almost fly in a circle like a tornado for a second, and then it starts moving in your direction.
But I can run away, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm thinking we should have sorted out acid resistance before we did this, but never mind.
Yeah. I'm thinking we should have gone back and got that tap. So we could have just chucked it over.
starting
but
to
never
move
mind.
towards the cave, and you guys running back out to the forest, right? You're not. Are you
Yep.
not going
Oh
to
yeah,
stand in the
now
cave?
we're going.
You're not going to stand within the cave. You're going to run for the forest. Divide and conquer is the name of the day.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Run away.
So back to this other place. Back to the other map. All right, I'm putting you on the forest map now. Do you need me to reshare that again? The cave and the forest map?
me
I've still
see.
got it.
Okay. I don't know what it is today, but I keep repeatedly dragging Terrell to the same map that Terrell is already on.
Okay.
Adjust yourselves accordingly. You can be within like 40 feet of the map entrance. Let's say, because you're dashing.
Well, there's not a lot I can really do from a distance.
You need to unlock us again, Bonnie.
I feel like I've checked all these maps, and the one time I don't, you're locked. And in the mouth of the cave, there is a swarm monstrosity.
That's big.
Yeah, that's how big it really is.
Oh my god, I'm going to
So-
get my shield up.
Everybody roll initiative.
Huh.
Everybody is running so fast, they are totally ready and prepared because this is totally going according to plan, right?
Whatever plan
Yes.
it is, sure, yeah.
Yes, fighting a bunch of bees that have been combined with a cube is definitely the plan.
Whatever nature plan this is, for however you fight a giant swarm of bees that is conjoined with a gelatinous cube, it is absolutely going according to plan. So as the swarm monstrosity emerges from the cave entrance, you all get to attack, starting with Yelena.
I'm hoping arrows work.
Okay,
Does that hit? It seems to hit. Was it do anything?
do damage.
All right.
So you see that as your arrow swoops through the bees and the jelly,
Mm-hmm.
that because of its amorphous nature and that it's such a swarm and it's constantly moving, that it seems to partially resist piercing damage,
Mm-hmm.
but you do 4 points of damage to it.
Right. Does psychic damage work on it?
Oh, yes, it does.
Because I hadn't rolled that. Nope. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Undo that. Oh, wait a minute. Do I just roll over the dice?
You just drag the damage dice. You ignore the attack part altogether.
Sorry about that.
So you do 2 points of psychic damage along with your arrow, and you can't tell any sign that they could resist psychic damage.
Okay. I'm just wondering what a psychic damage of a bee hive looks like.
The swarm kind of it spreads, it gets larger for a second, like more dispersed, and it swirls around like they've lost the path that they're flying before, and then a couple seconds later they swoop back more into a cohesive blob.
All right.
So it's like
Well.
you momentarily confuse them with your psychic damage.
Good to know.
It's like temporarily disrupting the Borg hive mind. Terrell.
Yeah. Not sure what to do because I don't think a javelin will really do all. So I'm going to have to run up and hit him. I don't really want to, no.
That was just me, like, actually putting them in the full squares.
Okay. What's my speed? 30. Okay.
It's only
I should-
45 feet away from you.
Right. I think I'm going to have to run up to him. So if I'm going to attack him and I'm going to do ensnaring strike as a bonus action, do I do the attack first and then do the bonus action?
Yeah.
Okay. If I die, I'm sorry. Okay.
What does ensnaring strike say anything about the size of the thing you're ensnaring
Oh, hang on.
in
Let
the
me check
description?
that. It says a large or larger creature has advantage on this saving throw.
Okay, this is larger than
Right.
large.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just risk it
It's
for the biscuit.
huge.
All right, so I hit him.
And
Uh,
what's the roll the saving throw? It should have advantage. If not, let me roll again.
so I don't do my normal damage. I just do the ensnaring
I think
strike.
you do normal damage, and then your ensnaring strike happens on top of that. Because that's how a smite would work.
Okay.
You would do
Right.
normal damage of your weapon, and then your smite damage would be on top of it.
Right. So you say I do the saving throw, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's a little save button, yeah?
But the creature should have advantage. Yeah. Where it says a DC of something. Okay, it only rolled once. But the first roll was a 10. Let me roll again. And what it's a strength saving throw?
Yeah, strength DC 13.
Okay, they're +0 on that, so let's see if they roll any better. They do not, so they're ensnared. What does that do?
It says a writhing mass of thorny vines appear at the point of impact, and the target must succeed on a strength or be restrained by the magical vines until the spell ends.
What?
So do I?
Is it a concentration spell?
It is.
What?
So I put the effect on them?
I'm putting it on it right now. That
Okay.
you have somehow restrained. So you cast out these vines, and the vines whirl around this huge swarm monstrosity, and you have somehow managed to lasso a swarm of bees.
Okay.
Hey, we're good.
And it also says that they take 1d6 piercing damage at the start of each of its turns.
Okay. So let's try to remember to roll that damage.
Okay, so do I do my normal damage now?
Yeah, do your normal weapon damage.
Okay.
So you can tell that your slashing damage seemed to be partially resisted as well.
Okay. I guess I stay put because he's restrained until whenever. So okay, yeah, I'll stay
This
put.
is me rapidly trying to look up just to make sure what restrained allows and doesn't allow. I'm pretty sure you're preventing it from moving, period.
It does say that a creature restrained by the vines or one that can touch the creature can use its action to make a strength check against your spell.
To try to break free.
Yeah. But I'm guessing that's on his turn, yeah?
A restrained creature's speed becomes 0, and it can't benefit from any bonus to its speed. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage, so the rest of you guys attacking while it's restrained, keep that in mind. Though I think it might do it automatically because I applied the condition.
Well, actually, I'm not sure it showed advantage when I did it because I've just got my slashing and my force damage.
You did the attack before you did the actual
effect. Yeah, true, right.
So I'm expecting, so you guys, it's Kai's turn now, yes, to attack?
Yeah.
So Kai,
Yeah.
you should have advantage when you roll, so let's look to make sure that you get to roll with advantage.
Okay,
The
so
creature's attacks are also at disadvantage, and any dex saving throws are at disadvantage that the swarm does now.
Okay, so what should I do on this guy now? If I do firebolt, is it going to affect the restraining spell or anything?
Nope. As
Nope,
long as you
super.
don't somehow hit Terrell with your
Me.
fire.
It's only joking about putting your robe on the fire.
Because Terrell has to maintain concentration for this effect to continue.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna aim
So
straight at the swarm.
Don't fireball Terrell is basically the
I'll
only
try not
missive
to.
here.
I've moved out of the way, and aiming directly at the bees. So
Okay. View the bees.
did that? Oh, 20.
Ah, nice.
Oh, natty 20! Light those bees up, yo. Pew, 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 pew. You light up the bees. There's a woof to fire. And you do 11 damage, 11 fire damage. With your firebolt.
Yep.
Well done, you.
Yay.
You burnt some bees. There's like that sizzle pop again of the fire hitting the bee swarm. And the bees kind of, you can see them get like busy in place, but they can't, they can't expand, they can't float like they're doing before because they're restrained in these vines that are kind of forming this cone around the bees. They're just trapped there as a portion of their number sizzle under your firebolt. Now it's the swarm's turn. All they can do is try to get out of this ensnaring strike, to try to break free of these vines. And that's a strength saving throw, right?
It is, yeah.
Which is not their strong suit, because they're bees! And they only roll a 10.
Woohoo!
So the bees are still stuck. So they just bees in place. And I don't think they can attack you, Terrell. I think yeah, they have to be within your space to be able to do damage to you. So their range is only 0 feet. It's not 5 feet. So they can't attack you while they're restrained.
Fantastic.
So we're straight on to Yelena's turn.
All right, I think I want to do Hunter's Mark on this.
Okay.
How do I engage this? Do I just...
I think there's like an effect you can drag from your spell list onto the bees. You already have advantage on the bees because of the restraining. So I can't remember what else Hunter's Mark grants you.
Cool.
I think Hunter's Mark grants you advantage against the target, right?
Let me see.
So as long as there's nothing, like if there's nothing additional to granting advantage, you might want to not cast it because you can't get double advantage.
Spell engine, you can do an extra 1d6 damage to the target whenever you hit it with a weapon attack, and you have advantage on any wisdom or perception or wisdom survival check you make to find it.
All right, okay. So yeah, for the extra damage and stuff, you totally want to
because we need it because we're not damaging as effectively as we
make the most of it while we can.
It's a big bunch of bees.
All right, so I've did that. So now I roll my attack.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Pew! So a 23, the natural 18. And again, it partially resists. You do 3 damage because of that.
Okay, so psychic damage. And then I do my d6.
Yeah. You did 2 psychic damage, and then your Hunter's Mark grants you.
How do I do it? So I've dragged the effect over. Is there a place to drag the dice over?
Does the spell have like the damage dice as one of the options if you hit the lasso and expand it? I think it does. This is me opening your character sheet, looking at your spells. Yeah, where it says damage 1d6, if you hit the lasso or the magnifying glass little thing by your spell, it'll expand, and there'll be that where it says DMG 1d6. Just drag that to the bee, and it should apply the damage.
It's not working.
Roll a d6, and I will do it manually.
Okay. Ah!
Okay, you do another damage. What? Okay, so Is that your turn? Do you have any other bonusy, strikey things to do?
No, I don't think I can do a second strike.
Or I
Can I?
guess casting Hunter's Mark was maybe your bonus action.
Maybe it is. Yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah, let's theoretically that's what it was.
Thank you.
Okay, Terrell, you're keeping the bees at bay.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, I guess because I only get 3 spells, don't I? That's what the spell slots are for.
Right. So you've
So-
used one of them to
Yeah, so
scare
I-
the bees. You have 2 left.
So I'll just go with a normal attack this time. Okay.
Like a tornado of bees restrained in front of you. 15 feet high. Like if you look up, you can just see the tops of this cone of bees. And you whack it with your long sword. The slashing damage again is partially resisted just because of the busy nature of this monstrosity swarm of bees. And you swack it, and it's partially resisted, but you do 8 damage altogether.
Okay.
Roll a d20.
Eh.
You see this time as you pull your weapon. Is your weapon magical?
It's a forceful longsword.
Okay, never mind then. I say nothing
Okay.
because it's not a mundane weapon. Kai's turn again.
Guess I'll try the lucky fireball again.
So you hit, no problem. It's a 21. And your fire sizzles into the swarm monstrosity again. You hear the pop, pop, pop. You do 6 more fire damage to the monstrosity.
Yep.
It's still,
and-
even though you guys have done a chunk of damage to it, I mean, even though it's resisted this damage, you've done a fair amount of damage to the swarm monstrosity. But it still seems to be holding its mammoth size. And just the swarmosity of it. So that's your turn, right, Kai?
Yeah.
Okay. The swarm monstrosity can save again, or try to save again. And rolls a 19. So
Damn.
you see, like, there's this
Oh, do you know what? We have been rolling the 1d6 for the start of its turns. The piercing damage.
Oh, we haven't.
So it should have taken
roll
2.
2d6.
Right, hang on. Yeah.
So 6 additional damage.
But yeah, I guess it tears itself free.
Is you see the swarm monstrosity kind of shake and tremor within the grasping vines that are holding it restrained. And at this point, you see slipping out between those vines a small patch of insects manages to escape the vine. And the monstrosity shrinks just a little bit in size.
So the bees free? They're normal?
And appearing beside it, not only do the restraints snap at this point, but a chunk of bees that were part of this monstrosity sear off of it. If that makes sense.
So instead of 1, we've got 2.
Rather than 2 swarm monstrosities, which would probably be really gross.
Mm.
Hey, I don't see the restrained effect. Oh, because I just realized something. Never mind. I say nothing. I realized at this late date that the swarm monstrosity was actually immune to restraint, but
Oh.
let's just say you don't get to do
Oops.
that again.
Okay.
Fair enough. Take it
And
while we can.
because I didn't read the fine print. And bad DM, no cookie. But what happens is a what looks like a normal swarm of bees.
Excellent. So we're sort of loosening them up, so that's good.
You've loosened up the bees a little bit, and a normal swarm that I'm failing to drag into the combat tracker wiggles free and is now adjacent to the swarm of bees. And while it's angry and upset, these seem to be potentially just bees. They don't seem to have that green gloopiness that the swarm monstrosity has because of the gelatinous cube side effects.
Should we try to lure them away or something, or what do you reckon?
Well, top of the combat order with Yelena.
Uh,
You notice at this point that the swarm monstrosity was huge, all right? At this point, you've done enough damage, and with that combined with the swarm of bees that has extracted itself from the whole mass, you think that this is more like a large creature now that you're fighting.
Okay, so I was looking at animal friendship. You can see within range. Beast you can see within range and must see and hear you.
What's the range?
30 feet, so I'm probably too far.
So you'd have to move closer because you're
All
about.
right. No, I'm going to
60
shoot
feet
the
away?
monstrosity again. Let's concentrate on one thing at a time.
Okay.
Oh, does it still have the I should still have the hunter's mark though too, right?
You have the hunter's mark still, yes.
Awesome. Ah, shoot.
The 13 misses.
Alas. Never mind.
Any bonus actions? Hunter's
Just
mark.
Crouch down.
Crouch
that's
down.
right.
Hide behind a rock.
Yeah, I'm just like, oops.
All right, Terrell, it's your turn.
Okay, I'll just do a normal attack again.
You hit with a 19.
Okay.
Partially resist your slashing and it doesn't resist your force damage, but it partially resists your slashing damage.
Yep, and I guess I will. Oh, what's that? Hang on. I'm gonna guess that restrained won't work for that. No, it's restrained. Okay, yeah, that's all I'll do.
Alrighty.
Hi. Interesting stuff.
Time for the magic.
Yeah. I'll try a firebolt again.
$23 with your firebolt.
For pity's sake.
Your fire unerringly zaps into the swarm monstrosity. It sizzle pops for 2 points of damage.
And that's it.
Okay. The swarm of bees, they're mad.
Really? And me?
They're mad, but they move away from the monstrosity. And they move adjacent. Let me see something about them. Actually, they don't even move toward you. They're like flying away at this point. They want to get away from those restraints. They're not happy about it. All the places where the damage is happening, so they're just flying in another direction. The monstrosity, now that it is free from those grasping vines,
Uh-oh.
it swarms over you, Terrell. And
Nope.
now that it is occupying your space, you're surrounded by thousands and thousands of angry bees and gloopiness. The question is, it tries to sting you while you're within its space. And it tries to sting you twice. I'm going to move it away from you for a second so I can actually target you on the map.
Okay.
But it's like in your face. So it hits you the first time with the 21. But you've actually damaged half of its hit points. So it doesn't do as much damage to you as it would have had it been full size. So the first sting does 4 damage.
Does that mean I partially resisted the damage?
You partially resisted it. I don't know why.
No, me neither. But hey, how? Is it because I'm a heavy armor master?
I have no idea. Oh, it might be that because you have 3 damage reduction, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's probably it. Yes, because it was 7 damage and you only took 4, so it was your 3 DR from your heavy weapon master. That's the first hit, but do a Constitution saving throw.
Boom.
All right. Like the toxin of the sting kind of sink into your skin, but you shake it off. The second bite is a natty 20. Again, you still partially resist it, but you take 12 points of damage. Do another Constitution saving throw.
Uh-oh.
This one you fail. You take some additional poison damage. 3 poison damage. And that is the swarm monstrosity. Yelena, your turn.
Let's try shooting it again. Hunter's mark is still active. Hit.
19, hitting with your arrow.
It says arrow damage. Okay. Let's see. We'll do psychic damage. And then we'll do the extra d6. All right, that's a little better.
All right. So you do 3 points of resisted piercing damage, 3 points of psychic damage from your dreadful strikes, and 5 points from the hunter's mark, for a total of 11 points of damage. Terrell, it is your turn. There is a bee swarm in your face.
I will flail at them, going, get away!
You flail about. There's bees surrounding you. You flail about with your longsword and your shield,
Miss.
and you manage to miss the bees. It's a frenzy of stuff going on. Do you move at all?
Will they get an opportunity attack if they do
Yes,
that?
they will, because they haven't taken a reaction yet.
5. No, I'm going to stay put.
Okay, hold your ground within the swarm of bees. Your armor is magical as well, isn't it?
It's adamantine.
Is your shield magical?
No, that was just a boring one. I only
Okay,
allowed
roll a
2.
d20.
Oh.
Okay, your shield begins to suffer the effects of the acid that is part of this swarm monstrosity. So rather than do 2 AC, it's weathered now and it only provides you 1 AC.
Okay.
So lower your AC by 1.
Okay, then. Where do I change it? Shield there.
And we'll move on to Kai. Kai, is your turn.
Yeah. I'll go firebolt again.
Firebolt, firebolt. 23, you're rolling
Yay!
fire with your firebolts. So sizzle pop again. 6 points of damage this time to the swarm monstrosity. It's definitely
That's it.
looking a little bit patchier now. It's smaller in size than when you started. It's patchier now. You can actually see portions of Terrell's figure within the swarm of bees. The swarm of insects keeps flying, and this time it flies up to you, Kai.
Aw.
And encountering your form, it tries to bite you. And 22 hits. The full-size swarm of bees nibbles at you. I don't know why you're resistant. What did I do to you?
I'm not arguing.
I'm not sure what's happening here, but let's not. I'll figure it out for some other point in time because this is going to be our last round of action. I feel like this is some kind of backwards effect of some sort that is happening that I did not expect to have happen. Because while it totally makes sense why Terrell was taking less damage, I have no idea why you would only take half damage from piercing. So you get stung a lot, and welts start to break out on your face. Which brings us back to the swarm monstrosity. But because the open is a thing, and because there's somebody British in the finals, and we have to end directly at 4 p.m.
Look, we don't get the opportunity to win stuff very often.
Yeah.
We have to...
Well, yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
that sporty of a people. unless football or cricket is involved.
Yeah, and football is...
Well, yeah, football's not right cracking. Cricket, we do all right.
And since it's 3:58 and we need to finish by 4 p.m., we're going to stop right there and resume for part 3.5 next Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern, I think.
Yeah.
Is that the plan?
Do you think we'll get through this giant swarm in half a session?
I think so. I think you can tackle the main thing that you need to tackle now that you're here at this cave of bee stuff. Finally, at the cave of bee stuff.
Hey guys, sorry, I had to run out. Wait, I had a friend coming over because I thought if we're still ending at 4, I've got a guest over here. Okay, so
we're ending. I'm wrapping up now. We're pausing. Okay. We're pausing before the next swarm monstrosity's turn.
Awesome.
We're ending this session, and we're going to reconvene for part 3.5 next Saturday at 2 p.m.
Okay, that should work. I'll text you if I think I'm going to run behind, but I should be back by 2.
2 p.m. ish.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you can run if somebody wants to run Yelena until I get online. That's
whenever we're around 2 p.m. and we've convened, because I think it'll take less than 2 hours for us to wrap up. I think.
All right, cool.
I think it'll take an hour and a half.
All right.
Alrighty.
Thank you,
Bonnie.
anyone who's watched this. Thank you. Go UK. Win at
Yes.
the tennis.
I know the Canadians are supposed to be nice, but support the UK.
See you all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
See you guys.
everyone. Bye.
See you next week.